All right, let's jump right in because I might get cut off at any moment. Running today was a hectic day, so sorry about that.
That's all right. That's all right. I know
Um,
about hectic days.
okay, so we up to your dollar. Tezvav we're up to.
Tesvav, according to my
Okay,
writing here.
not sure name of there's a very long one. We'll have to cut it ahead.
Yeah, yeah. And he doesn't have any paragraphs.
Yeah,
Maybe that's the printer. I think that's probably the printer, not him.
I know. I think it's a lot that's writing the stream of consciousness. So
It
uh,
is very stream of consciousness.
I
You're
don't
right.
think there are no paragraphs in streams of consciousness. The way it goes. Okay, Yisod Risha. The foundation of wickedness. She mispatels abarazar which then separates and or branches off into avodah zarah and to heresy, to idolatry and heresy. He bought batzem makom l'sigei hachayim. It comes to play to fortify a place for the impurities of life. L'mosar samitziusios to the excesses of existence, them in reality and in man. But musar, in a person's ethics and a person's desires, b'mifa, a person's activity, anhaga and its conduct, lust litain lem, go to the shilton, to give them these impurities, greatness and governance, v'toch hatov kodesh, within the good and holy. Why? Lo taras kodesh, not to purify the kodesh, would be pure without them. Kim l'tamol savo, but rather to defile it and render it tame and defiled. So that's true, but the question is why. There seems to be a lot of what without a why so far. And then makom shabar zay b'chutz. So the place of Azar is out external. Medicine makom azuma. It stands in the place of pollution of Amosaras, Hamagushamas, and the coarse and mufalos and dark excesses. Makesh says Bitsuram, and it demands their fortification, Beshlita some and their governance, Viskabu some, and their overwhelming I'll call token Kodesh and any holy content, Visrabu some, Imo B'cholev Sharus, and it's um, getting mixed in with them and any possibility. So that obviously is one type of wickedness, which or rishus, which Rav Kook is not coming to focus on. Avodah Zarah is something which is like mechutza machane. Gedolim mimena, but greater than that. Here, Risha Atzfuna Harasis is the hidden wickedness, which is poisonous, of Shalminus of heresy. She mechapeses lapina be'etzma kodesh. Um, the it seeks a corner in the essence of kedusha. In other words, it's not going to attract you elsewhere. It's coming to undermine that which you possess. Shemis biyadayim tita face Shemis is a type of worm, some sort of that, but it's certainly kind of some sort of the destructive force, which you seize on with your hands, and it is within the palace of the king. As olam, it attempts to leave all the pollution of the world, as companies, all the material coarseness, as quantities are rishus, all the evil inclinations, which can hold on to the coarse body, in the inner workings of its um, uh,
Substance.
yeah, it's of its sort of what though? Um, I guess without the sodos of this minus of which of course la losimo osher la kodesh and go up with them with it. Not sure why it says imo, but it should osher I guess with kedusha el osher shel kodesh In other words, he wants to go up with Kedusha and then defile the Kodesh. She gets defiled and debased when it's touched by the debased hand. Lo Shah Hashem L'Kaim Minchaso, the Hashem did not listen to Cain and turn towards Cain and his sacrifice. Because the wickedness with which it was entangled. Osa Retzach, that murder, which later on came out into practice, was hidden and secreted in theory, in dormant. When Cain brought his carbon from the fruit of the ground. Carbon zetuevahu. This carbon was repugnant. It amplified all powers of wickedness. And the sin which crouches by the opening is amplified and strengthened by the fragrance of holiness, which absorbs into its essence and turns into its characteristics. So I'm not sure why Cain is associated with Minus here. I don't know why that Retzach and Minus are the same Yetzer Hara, the same wickedness, but he's saying that Ritzicha is a type of Minus, and that it is a inclination which can be part and parcel of or I should say, part and parcel is the wrong term, but can be worm itself in to the inclination of holiness. In other words, Avodah Zarah is clearly drawing in another direction. Other types of Yitzarim, other types of Rishos, including Retzach and including Minus, worm themselves into the person who's still involved in holiness, and he himself might not be aware of them, but even if he is aware of them, they still are things which are not going to separate him from Kedusha, but destroy the inner essence of that Kedusha.
I said recently that people feel like we have a Yetzer Hara and a Yetzer Tov, so each one is sort of separate power trying to exert influence over us. But I say that there's only one thing. There's a brain, there's a heart, and the Yetzer Tov and the Yetzer Hara are intermingled within them. In other words, the Yetzer Hara already knows the plans of the Yetzer Tov, and he's already trying to subvert them while the plans are actually being made because he is there in the planning session. In other words, he's like he's more than just a spy. He's like a mole, like a spy that's been hidden for generations or years, that's within the organization, subverting every little plan while he himself is actually trying to help discover the spy that's within. That's how bad it is.
That's true, but you still have to distinguish, according to Rav Kook, between Avodah Zarah and Minus, which you're not doing.
Right. No, Avodah Zarah, that's trying to draw you externally, whereas Minus is an internal battle.
Okay, I agree with your point, but it's clearly saying that Avodah Zarah is, I would say Avodah Zarah is easier to isolate.
Yes.
Because it does come from a definite external source, as opposed to Minus, or in this case, Ritzicha. Ritzicha is a tolada of Kas. So, and Kas, and I think that it may well be that I'm saying this as a suggestion, not that I actually know that it's true, in that according to Rav Kook, you would say that anger and heresy are related. And I think that's true, that people come to heresy, not talking about a person who's born up because a person who comes to heresy as a result of anger against God.
You know, I have found that anger absolves you of any responsibility for your action. In other words, if I wish to do something bad, if I'm angry, then I'm not responsible. I was overcome with my anger. I did this bad thing, yeah, but it was only because I was overcome. I was unable to control myself. So anger is a kind of insidious. In other words, it's not just like, oh, he got angry and he did this bad thing. The anger in a person's mind absolves him of any responsibility for the bad thing he did.
Right. In
It's
that
like
case,
it's the other guy's fault. It's not my fault. I was angry. I couldn't control myself.
right, that would be a correlation with minus.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's insidious. It's within. It's digging into the. You're making plans to make a chavrusa that you could finish this masechta, but the Yetzer, he's already he helps you make those plans, and he's already figuring out ways to subvert you and to minimize your goals and to put obstacles and all these things. And you think that these are external obstacles, but really it was within the plan that you actually made yourself.
Right. So I think that is what he's very, not exactly what he's saying, but certainly similar to what he's saying here.
Yes.
And Koso Beves Veleches he Hakinus Harisha. Do you have Hakinus in yours? Hey, Kuf Yunun Tough.
Yeah, like keynote.
Yeah. So well, this is I'm not sure how that fits here. Uh, I think it's from the language of nesting.
Ah,
This way it surrounds and envelops and continues to nest within a person this wickedness. And this wickedness wants to find favor in God's eye. Hashem should pay attention to it and to its mincha. Even though it knows very well that it is liable. Kimos Hashem ba knows Hashem rejected. Upaneno flim, and its face falls. Because kasa agur b'socha, and its anger is embedded within it, is gathered within it. So let's assess this based on what we said, that the a person, this type of minus, which is a very different type of minus than we normally think of when we talk about a stereotypical apikores. We're talking about somebody who feels that I think this is probably related to the Russia of the Haggadah. Lachem. In other words, he recognizes that there is an avoda. He might even want the effect of the avoda, but he feels that he feels that there is a distance between him and a challenge which is presenting to the avoda and saying, "Oh yeah, let's see, prove to me that all of this is significant." So Cain comes here. Let's see how you deal with this korban, right?
I think it's interesting that the Torah uses the word mincha when it refers to his korban, which mincha is sort of the most beloved thing for Hashem. Like it's like the korban mincha is like for the poor person, and it's a very beloved thing. Hashem loves it the most, I think, and yet the Torah calls Cain's korban a mincha. It could have used some other word, or could have used korban. It could have used I don't know. I'm sure there's other words it could have used, but it specifically uses the word
Right.
mincha, which would seem to me a word sort of beloved. In other words, Cain thought, I'm giving this beloved thing, but within it there was this kernel of minus, or there was this kernel of wrongness that was within it.
Right. I think yeah, I like that idea. The and at any time it's possible the hand of the murderer is revealed. Sivyona chatos, the character of the iniquity. Shelet shel adam hakeni, to which is the quest of the Cainite blood. The Rebbe Chota comes revealed in all of its discussing this. Yisora minus, and this is the fundamental, this anger, which is which is fundamental to the minus, which Rav Kook is talking about. It comes to make a mockery of the words Chachamim, but the shamos b'Yisrael and makes desolation within Am Yisrael internally. Shamnam mipnei hayad gedolim aleisi koach Hashem. that nevertheless, because of the great hand, which is full of the power of Hashem, Hashem b'chayuma, which is in the clear manifest in the life of the nation, lo yitzchichu laros es hashatos, and it has not been able to destroy the foundations. Chol zechinu lo korim, nevertheless, it prepares for itself webs. Asher tzochulios le'ereg, which have successfully become a weave. Shel machse kazav, of a false covering, al pnei amim rabim. So the idea is that although there's too much divinity, at least in Am Yisrael, it seems in the world in general, for Apikoros, for Minos to be completely successful, nevertheless it has woven a heavy impact on many nations, including the Jews. Minus, and what used to be the Yetzer of Avodah Zarah is now the Yetzer Hara of Minus. Lo tochen epnimi utav. It's not better. Came da, but it's changed stance. Hatorach hitzoni go guhatskimat, and the outer characterization is a little bit ironed. In other words, Minus looks more civilized than Avodah Zarah. Amatar chasi, but it's one purpose. Lo locations are not to sanctify the will, sanctify life. Es olam ha
Gas.
Yes, okay. So the course world, that's apnimius hamosis, and the inner character, also seder muchan lakach b'atzasrem gdola, by the entire order in which Hashem prepared. Sheisadog babiso, whose foundation is embedded in Amiso b'goy kodesh. Listafosel, and from its extensions, yuchlu amim l'rabim linak, many nations could nurse. Kol pitochna, each nation according to its character, be musara, based on its ethics, and its natural preparation. Historians, whether it's historical preparation, or it's racial preparation. Piasclosa, based on its intelligence, matzaba, geography, and its geographical situation, and its economic situation. And all the inner characteristics, Vaishim, and its personal characteristics. Shalom, it's that. All of this could be a way for every nation to connect to this type of powerful, positive aspiration. No. Magamasa. I realize now I got it wrong before. It's not Akinos. It's not nesting. It's Hakenus. The Cain-ism.
Like the Cain-ism type thing?
No, but Cain.
Like, oh, okay. Yeah. I think that's correct.
Yes.
Yes. There's a certain kindness in it.
Right. That's
That's a beautiful expression.
Yeah. So what do you mean before? You said this. Where was it before? Where would you have it? Where was it before? Kos heroes. Koso beves olexia kenus harishah. The wicked kindness.
Mm.
Hashem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so so this is a very interesting type of minus. Again, the minus of kenus is this idea that there is a God, and I want to bring a mincha to this God, but let's see how God responds to it. It's kind of a taunt at the same time. And now he says here, Hakinus astabadam es masam mifal hakarchi b'Yisrael. Cainus did to man what Korach did to Am Yisrael. So Cain, I wonder if there's some concept in Kabbalah of Cain, Korach being a Google of Cain. I'm saying vague recollection, maybe there's something along those lines. So Cain, the Cain movement in man was, in general, was the Korach movement in Am Yisrael. Again, Korach was it was not a lack of belief in God, and it was an anger against Moshe, an anger against God's plan. Cain was an anger at God, and evidently that anger was based on something we don't know what, but it manifests itself in his jealousy of Hevel. Um, Hakriya shel kol yidei kulam kedoshim v'sochom Hashem of Cain. That's a kriya lo eges kol tochen hakodesh. At one point, it seems like it's a very and Rav Tzadok says kol yidei kulam kedoshim v'sochom Hashem is correct. Had a Korach meant l'shem shamayim, he would have had a legitimate taina. But it was a mockery. Hakriya lo eges kol tochen hakodesh. L'chol romus sa'achon ha'tochis, and to any content of holiness and all loftiness and all internal preparation. How so it's necessary to do Achi HaKodesh V'Sas B'chaim Emes until Kodesh is truly founded, grounded in life. Shem Uftach B'chol P'gam Sov, that it should be secured against any damage and anything which taints it. Shlei Pech L'Reitz, it shouldn't turn to something which is negative. Utzar Yitzchak Shalom, and the greatest tsar in the world. So you say what you're really doing is trying to bring down kedusha as opposed to go up to kedusha. You're trying to say the challenge kedusha, not saying we're all up there, but we're all down here, and therefore you have to be put down even further. And be forever a sign for rebels. And people should not be like Korach and his congregation.
On camera.
Akriya kol amim. The call to all the nations, which are which are mired in all the mud of Tuma, Barus, in all the depths of wickedness and ignorance, in the most horrible depths, frightening depths of darkness. Inchem kulam kedoshim kulam banim laHashem. You're all the same. You're all holy. You're all children for God. Ain't a freshman amlam. No difference between nation. Ain't ka'am kadosh v'nivchar ba'olam. There's nobody who's chosen. Nobody's holy. Kadam kadosh b'shaveh. Every person is equally holy. Sosia karchus enershis. This is human korachness. She a kenus haradasha, the new Cain-ism. She menesova adam, from which peoples
suffer.
Shemena noah tanu Orot kishikor, the land stumbles around like a drunk person. Snodna kimluna. I don't remember what luna means. So it's always what's the word? Stumbling about. B'kavila bisha, its crime is heavy. V'naflo tosipkum, falls and does not rise. Okay, so the Caesar of Kook is saying here that Minus denies hierarchies, and there are hierarchies, and without hierarchies, you have a lack of respect for sanctity, a lack of respect for holiness, a lack of respect for elevation. It's kind of like a criticism, although I don't think he meant this, but it's kind of like criticism of communism. It's a communism, everybody's equal, which means you strive to the lowest common denominator. And I don't know what Karl Marx had in mind when he invented communism, but clearly what happened with communism over time is that communism became, there is no transcendence. Everybody is equally materialistic. And the whole point is materialistic. So he's saying you can't say, if you say Kol Kulam Kadoshim, what you're really saying is that nobody's Kadosh. And right. If Cain is, what Cain is saying is that, again, if Ritzicha is possible, right, and there's anger involved, so you're basically saying is that I reject all sense of hierarchy, all sense of significance, all sense of this being more appropriate, all sense of this being more of a positive act. Everything is equal, and it's a very cynical approach towards things. So I think that this is the idea. Avodah Zarah has a pathway to elevation. It's a wrong elevation. It's a pathway to elevation. Minus rejects all possibility of elevation and rejects the entire concept of there being higher and lower. Everything is just coarse and material, and everything is equal. Um, uh, V'kavei pisha, the sin where its wickedness or its rebellion is heavy upon it. Blows yivkum. Asher yifuch hayom yivkon Hashem etzva marom b'marom malchei adama al adama. And this is something which is not going to be resolved until Hashem actually comes and reveals himself, I guess, and shows people that the hierarchy is there. Till then, there can always be this rebellion. Habitzuram romi v'arkol shkokim. The fortifying oneself on high and uplifting oneself to heavens, which minus assumes, not assumes, which minus presumes to them, which is incorrect, which is false. And they have to be fall and be eradicated from their basis. The world has to recognize that not with one statement, the one syllable. With the statement of Emunah, just as a description, the dialogue of move Gan Eden, it's not for a person to go to Gan Eden. At the same time that all the treasury of wickedness, haretzach, of murder, batil, and disgust and repugnance, has suffered which is embedded in all of the chamber of his heart, but done with sorrow in his blood and his flesh, can remain intact. In other words, again, Minos is saying that everybody is equal, and I don't have to work on myself in order to become better. I brought you a carpet. What else do you want? I don't have to refine myself. I don't have to learn anything. Rikuz, I don't have to focus. Vali, I don't have to uplift myself. There's nobody who's richer than a pig, because as the Chazal say, his food is everywhere. Even spiritual mitzvah, it's available to them all the time, in all places. And pigs have similar intestines to human beings. So the idea of a chazir is it shows itself it says, I have split hooves and I'm just as holy as you. And at the same time, I'm able to go everywhere and be anywhere. And there are human beings like this as well. And there's no concept of avoda. There's no concept of midos. Stop here. How much more do we have here?
You could stop if you need to stop. No problem.
Should I see how far we still have here? No, because my Kabbalah doesn't seem to be calling me tonight. Usually he calls me around this time, but doesn't call. We can keep going. Just make sure you didn't miss him. Nope. Okay, so a person should know all of his toil has to be pure, to purify his soul. Have sharus, the possibility to air, a purification, in the character of nations. Tunahi milusha rekuz. It requires a filling of concentration. Which is already prepared by that great preparation. Which Hashem brought about through that wonderful nation of Amisol. Libzei nefesh, for those are degraded of soul, and of God, those are disgusting in their nationality. Lev and Moshlim, to those who are servants of other rulers. Mulachim Yeruvakamu, Sarim Yishtachu, kings will see and they will get up, officials, and bow down. Man Hashem Hashem Ne'eman. In other words, this is going to save all people. The idea of for the B'zei Nefesh, this disgusting people, Taib Goy, the disgusting nations. and emotionally the people who are servants of other rulers. All their all malachim will see and rise, and the sun will bow down. L'man Hashem Asher Ne'eman Kadosh Yisrael B'Yivcharecha. Hein ein l'umim nesativ, and we the Navi, I think it's referring to, but maybe it's referring to Amisol, is the witness for Amisol nesativ negidim sabel lumim, the to direct the nation, saying goy lo teidat tikra. A guy which you have not known, you will call, and the guy which has not known, you will run to. I guess it's very down so. For the Hashem and the glory of Israel. The desire to set aside one nation in this world as the Mamlechus Kohen Kadosh. Tzarich the Movish has to be a evidence. Al Or Eloki of the lofty divine light, which can penetrate the lives of nations. Made only when it exists and stands. Bioso chasun v'chavshi, when this nation, Am Yisrael, is strong and free. Bioso shav levinyano l'shro, when it goes back to its structure and its happiness. Achrei kol v'vosa amros ba'avar, after all of its appearances in the past, I guess in negative ways. After all of its difficult tests. After all its underwent refinement and bleaching. When it turns with all of its perspectives and all of its acquisitions, and all the property of its soul, and the accomplishments of its life. With all its physical purity, Hagizis, its racial purity, Vamiris, and its theological purity, its belief purity, with all the content of the divine manifestation, Shalom Marshal, which is for us a bequest, an inheritance, and the character of our Lamb expands it and raises it and expands it. Then by the inner friendship, which the Jews can show to the nation world, instead of all of the hatred or defaults and persecution, which you see from them, through all the honor and all the, you know what, I'm afraid I'm going to run out of time.
Okay.
So because we only have 7 minutes left, we're not going to finish it. So, and I'm rushing through it at this point, and that's not a good idea. Now, I want to say something before we get to the end, which is that I think the Talmidim of Kook, not he himself, Chas v'shalom, but he himself, because it came Balei Gaiva from passages like this. In other words, there's a certain sense of the supremacy of the Jewish people, which is warranted, but then it has to be seen. It has to be at the same time accompanied with intense humility. And you have a passage like this, which is telling you that the salvation of humanity comes through Am Yisrael, and it's a relationship of the world to Am Yisrael. It can lead to a certain sense of arrogance, and I think it's a very dangerous passage in that respect. So, yes, the respect for Am Yisrael, respect for holiness, is something which is the antithesis of minus, and eliminating minus also is related to eliminating kas, because anger comes from being jealous and saying, well, you know, why are you better than me? And the antithesis of that is knowing, yes, well, that they are better than me because they're better people and they worked on themselves and I didn't work on myself. So this idea of minus and kas being a sense of rejecting which is higher and getting angry that something else is better than me, obviously will be rectified by a sense of humility, but it also, the flip side is that the entity which is supposed to be elevated should not look down at the people who are supposed to be elevated by looking up at them. Is that clear what I'm trying to say?
I understand exactly what you said.
Yeah. Okay, it's not just it's a problem we Jews have in general. And sometimes we have this arrogance which you have to be careful about, you know, especially now when It says that the Yisurim are good for Am Yisrael, so keeps us humble. But when we're not under Yisurim, so then we're not as humble as we should be. I'm not sure about that last statement, but in any event,
Mm.
there certainly has to be the sense that okay, yes, I am an achrayas because I am in charge, or because I'm on a higher level. Okay, so let's say that we're gonna take it from uh, uh, let's find a period here. Uh, no periods here. That's a problem. Uh, let's say next time take it from here from Achefetz.
Where is it?
Achefetz.
Hachef.
Achefetz Shamaris Koyachad.
Is that the first word on the line?
Yeah, and my I have it in the text I have on screen. It's the first one in line.
Okay.
Achefetz Shamaris Koyachad.
Okay.
Okay, very good.
Ver-
Okay, have a
Very
good
good.
night.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Shkoyach.